Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Victor, and for today's deck review, we are going to be going through the Prisma Visions Tarot. Now, this particular tarot really caught me by surprise, and I know it's been out for a while now, but even if that is the case, I just find it really astonishing how sometimes one particular card or anything that you can find even on Google are things that can really get you thinking and just has you looking over to the cards. So I'll talk a little bit about how I particularly found this deck. So before we jump into it, if you are really enjoying these deck reviews, make sure that you like this video. I know that it can definitely help me out as I try to build something a little bit in this small corner of the YouTube place that is vastly abundant, especially just trying to do my own thing with tarot over here as well. If you want to get started with tarot, I also have a video series for a beginner's guide if you ever want to pick up tarot for yourself. So those two things can go hand in hand into maybe you want to pick up a new deck and you want to get started in tarot. So maybe you're looking at the different possibilities. So without further ado, let's just get started on this. The Prisma Visions Tarot really caught me by surprise as I was one day just going through Google out of all places. And a big part of it is that I'm just trying to create a mood board for myself. And if you don't know what a mood board is, essentially you're putting together a lot of things that really are inspiring you. Maybe something that you want to envision yourself in the future, and then you just kind of start putting things together almost like a collage, and you just are trying to put everything together with different color schemes, seeing how everything just kind of blends in together. Because I actually started my own website, and in this website I have some information about me, and then also if you ever want to get a tarot reading, I offer that as well if you just send in the contact form. But as I was creating this mood board, one of the things that I found really interesting is that one of the cards, it was actually the back of a card that really inspired me, that just made me go, ooh, this kind of fits in really well with all of these different colors that I'm trying to play with and the different moods that I'm trying to convey about something that really speaks to my style and something that I'm just trying to convey, or something more peaceful, more calm, something a little mystical. And that's kind of how I found it. So very interesting enough, the card back is kind of what sets everything into motion, which is what you see in the front of the deck as well. Being able to really show the beautiful colors that come with it. Teal and the green and the blue just kind of really gives me that vibe, and that's something, that a color that I really do love a lot. Sometimes I can't incorporate it as much as I want to, but sometimes when you want to set the correct mood, you just want to pick the correct ones. And yeah, that's kind of how I came to find out. Now, for this particular deck was created by James R. Eads. Now, what's really interesting, and something that I found out by going through his website and through his shop, which I will link into this video as well if you want to get your own copy, or if you just want to find out more about this person's social medias as well. But what comes down to it is that they actually got started. A big part of it was in this divination part of it, in this whole tarot scene, was that they created their first deck by going through, because it started work on the light vision tarot. Something that you're really trying to do with tarot is just envision something that's going to come forward, something that's aligning together, maybe events are happening. And so being able to see that is just really, really cool. And now to be able to see the progression through James's Instagram page, and also being able to see on their website, in their about page, being able to go into something that's more independent and going into this particular tarot deck, to now being able to expand to a small workshop in downtown LA, and being able to just work on all of these particular colors that just really speak out to you. A lot of these paisleys, at least that's what I believe they're called, and being able to just really recall on this particular art style that is very scenic, doesn't focus so much on characters in general, but rather on the environment itself. And I think it's a very distinct approach going into tarot, where I know a lot of it involves characters and what are these characters doing and the actions involved in it. But being able to also pay attention to the scene of what's happening in the background can really open up your perspective into a lot of things that may come through in your particular readings. Now, one disclaimer that I do want to give about this particular deck is that it does focuses a lot on panoramas, and that's one thing that you'll notice is that you start putting cards together, they're going to start to form a particular scene, an unbroken image, even though it is technically broken by the different cards. But you'll be able to notice how it just creates one beautiful scene, and you notice that is one beautiful piece of artwork that it has been done with the different suits. And it's just really beautiful to be able to see it. And on their actual shop, you can actually see where you can buy the artwork of the full panoramic piece rather than just having it in the individual cards. So this is someone that does put a lot of attention into art, and that is the first thing that it speaks through in all of these cards. And that's one of the things that I was really drawn to it, is the color combinations as well as the attention to the backgrounds themselves and the characters playing into these particular backgrounds that really adds life into this deck. Another disclaimer about this particular deck that you should really definitely know is that not everything is translated into a Rider-Waite scene for each particular card. Now, what do I mean? Is that there are particular cards that do not have the same exact meaning or the same exact illustration of a traditional Rider-Waite deck. Now, that can be a little bit difficult if you're just kind of starting things off in tarot. This might not be the most friendly deck to pick up and be able to get traditional art pieces for what the intended purpose of the card is. So if you're someone who's already very comfortable in being able to understand what the card's meanings are, and then being able to add on all the dynamics going on with this particular artwork, is something that can really enhance your experience. But if you're just trying to start off, this might end up confusing you more than if you just get something a little bit more traditional, which I've covered in other deck reviews as well. This deck is particularly more focused on the art pieces and the beautiful aesthetics that it brings, versus I want something more translated into Rider-Waite context. So as you can tell, this particular deck is just very, very beautiful all around. Now it does have some darker tones, especially with the colors that were used. And because of those darker tones, that's something that I also noticed on their website, is that sometimes you just have a black canvas and then you're able to kind of draw on top of that. And it does give some of those shades really puncture in there for those shadows. For those textures, and it kind of gives a little bit more of like a darker tone. Be able to see a lot of moon references and a lot of night references. So it's just something for you to really keep an eye on, but I think it's very beautifully done, especially the way that the art really does come through. And when you notice those teals and those really bright colors, they really pop out at you. And that's one of the things that I really do appreciate about James as an artist, and being able to really translate some of those art pieces and just really give you that punch where it does need to be. And having those panoramic scenes on a lot of the cards and just being able to see how they all translate is just chef's kiss if you're looking for something more art focused, something that you're noticing as an art piece. And I know that there are plenty of decks out there that really does give you that extra feel. And if that's more of your particular vibe, then I highly recommend this deck to you. I know that in their shop, they also have the original deck that kind of started this all, even though it is a different edition, which is the Light Visions Tarot. And then you also have more of a newer approach, which is the Cosma Visions Tarot. So if you really want to support this artist, or if you want to get a deck of your own, I will provide the link here. It's not sponsored whatsoever. This is just me bumping into this deck myself, and then being able to share and just review it for everybody who is interested in picking this up for themselves. So now that I've kind of covered through all of that, if you really made it all the way over here, I really do appreciate. Thank you so much for watching this video. If there is any particular decks that you wish for me to review in the future, leave that in a comment or send me a message, and I can take a look at it, and then being able to get different ideas of different tarot decks that are out there that perhaps smaller creators or perhaps are non-mainstream that I can cover. Those are the ones that I usually tend to enjoy the most. So thank you so much for watching this video. Like this video if you really did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content of deck reviews or just learning how to do tarot on your own. And I'll see you next time. Bye.